Welcome to the latest edition of the Hudson County Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Jim Haig, and once again, as always, the Hudson County Sports Podcast is brought to you by the wonderful people at Stan Sports Center, which is located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. The telephone number there is 201-798-4466. And with me today is a very, very special guest, somebody who I've admired for a long time, and somebody who I consider to be a friend now after all these years. She grew up in Harrison and had a great, incredible high school career at Harrison High School, where she ended up being a 2,000-point scorer. And incredibly, of the 7 girls that have scored 2,000 points in their career, 3 are from Harrison High School, which is amazing feat in itself. So she's among the top 7 scorers. I don't know where she ranks in that number, but she's among the top 7 scorers in the history of Hudson County. She then went on to have a great career at Pace University, and then after college was over, she then was able to secure the head basketball coaching job at Kearny High School, where she's been now for the last 22 years, which is an amazing thing because she started coaching when she was 4. So, but she's had a great career coaching at Kearny High School, where she's been the girls basketball coach for all that time, and she is probably one of the most influential sports personalities in West Hudson, probably in history. So, how about that for a tag? And it is my good friend Jody Hill. Jody, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Jim. Thank you. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate you having me. I look forward to it. So thank you.
Well, we've been looking forward to having you for the past year or so. So I feel very honored that I'm getting a chance to get it done today. So anyway, all right. So let's turn the clock back a little bit more than 20 years ago, when you were growing up in Harrison. And what was it like? Did you grow up on a block that had a lot of kids, and were you able to play sports that way?
Let me tell you, the best thing that ever happened to me was growing up in Harrison when it comes to sports. I think that's what molded me as an athlete. Being surrounded by my friends and the coaches who were in Harrison was just phenomenal. I was one of the few houses on Davis Avenue that had like a very big yard. We had like a 2-lot house. So
wow.
Yeah, actually they knocked my house down where I grew up, and they, as they're doing everywhere, they built 2 homes there now. So the yard no longer exists. But back in the day when I was growing up, there was a huge yard with a cement wall in the back and a basketball hoop, of course.
Of course.
In the backyard. Yeah. So, I mean, all my friends would come over, my boys, my girls, everybody. And we grew up playing, I wish the kids did it today. We played running bases, football, tackle football in the park, off the wall, everything and anything sports-wise. That's all we did was play in the yard.
Okay.
My entire childhood. Yeah, it was fun.
All right. So now, were you at all intimidated at all by playing? Because you played against the boys and with the boys for a long portion of your life. Did you feel any intimidation at all playing against the boys? Or did you feel, hey, you know what? It's just a good way for me to be able to get out and play and maybe, get a little bit of experience?
Yeah, well, to be honest, when I was growing up, I just loved sports. And back then, we didn't have like a softball team for girls. So if you wanted to play softball, baseball, there was no softball, so we played baseball. And it was just like anybody can try out for the team, whether you're a boy or a girl. And to me, it was natural. Like, I didn't ever look at it like, oh, I'm the only girl out here,
You never looked at it once? Never once?
I never did, because that's just how I was raised. And if you love sports and you're an athlete, then you play with boys because you didn't have a choice, really, And I think that made me stronger and made me better. I believe it started with Harrison Little League that I remember playing Little League, and then I was chosen for the All-Star team for the boys. I believe Michelle Ferrero was as well.
Wow! So yeah, two of the 12 girls on the Harrison Little League All-Star team were girls.
Right. I remember playing with Ray Lucas and all those guys, And like if you're growing up playing with Ray Lucas on your team, and all these great athletes in Harrison. It's just like boys, girls, it didn't matter. It just made you stronger.
Okay. All right. Where did your love of sports come from? Did it come from Dad?
I would say it absolutely did. To say a little bit about my father.
Please.
Yeah, I would love to talk about him.
Yeah.
Most amazing.
And he passed away, what, about 4 years ago?
He passed about 15, so what is that, 6 years ago now.
6 years ago. Wow, time flies. It really does fly. Okay.
He had an inoperable brain tumor, and
Yep.
he fought as hard as he could, but he passed 6 years ago, and growing up, he worked 2 full-time jobs for our family.
Wow. And how many people in your family, Jody?
I have 2 sisters, an older sister, Leanne, who's 2 years older than me, and then a younger sister, Melissa, who is 13 years younger than me.
Wow. And either one of them athletes?
They both played. My sister, Leanne, the older one, was a great cross-country runner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she ran for Harrison High School, and then Melissa, actually, my parents had moved to Lyndhurst when I was in college, so Melissa actually grew up in the Lyndhurst high school system. And she played a little basketball and a little softball. She's a good athlete, too.
Okay.
Neither of them had, like, that love and passion for it like I did to take it to the next level, but they had athleticism in them, yes.
All right, and and what was Dad's first name? Anthony. Did he instill the love of sports in you? Like, did you was he watching TV and said, "Here, come over here, Jody, let's watch this game or do that game," or was he a hands-on kind of father that helped you and molded you into an athlete?
Yeah. So to describe my father is basically Sunday football was our thing. We would sit down and we would talk about the Giants. We would watch every Giants game together.
Right.
Like, to this day, I'm still a Giants fan because of him. And he would.
That's too bad. That's too bad.
I know. But hey, they're gonna bounce back, I hope.
Okay.
But we would go outside, and I just remember because he worked 2 full-time jobs, he literally would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, get home from his first job at 4:30.
Wow. What was his first job?
He worked at Mongolian, which turned to Petro Oil and Heating Company.
Okay.
And then he would get home at 4:30, and then he would have to leave for his next job at 6:30. So in that 2-hour time, he would take a shower, take a 20-minute nap, and play sports with me.
Oh my God!
Like literally, how exhausted that guy must have been because his second job started at 6:30 and he'd get home at 12 p.m. 12 a.m. midnight.
Wow! And what was his second job?
He worked at the Meadowlands racetrack, actually, with the horses. He loved it.
Well, what did he do? He
was like a teller behind the.
Oh, so he was. Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool.
Side bets and have fun with it.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah, but really, everything he did was for the kids. Like we weren't financially well off as a family, but I never felt slighted that I couldn't do anything because of that. Like our money just went to the kids' happiness. Like he just did everything for us possible.
Okay. Who was well off in Harrison back then? There was, everybody all came from the same background, blue collar, hardworking. They all pushed their kids to be as best as possible. I know that all too well because I'm married to a product of a Harrison hardworking family with like the parents had 4 jobs and he was ridiculous. So, but all right.
And it was good because my mom was able to stay home with us and really just keep on our academics and keep the household going. So it was like a really good balance. I was lucky and very fortunate to grow up with such loving parents.
Yeah, and having such a close knit family too, then which must have been really good.
Oh, absolutely. And those 2 hours, like I was telling you, in between jobs, like it was basically whatever we wanted. We would go outside and make up football plays, and he would be the quarterback, I'd be the wide receiver, and we just work on that. Or he would pitch to me, and he'd be the catcher, and I'd pitch to him. So growing up, there was a lot of football and baseball for me.
Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny that those are the 2 sports you?
Baseball was my love growing up, for sure. Baseball.
All right, and are you a Yankee fan like everybody else too?
I am a Yankee fan.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad too. So. as I sit and I look at my Mets shorts and my Mets T-shirt that I have on today. So yeah, so
There you go.
I'm all ready
I
to go.
don't hate, as Yankees, Mets, I like them both, and I heard, that's not supposed to happen, but I root for both.
Okay, good. And I told you I had to take a shower before we did the podcast today because you know why? I didn't want to smell bad for you. See, so
Well, I appreciate that,
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I
See,
can
so,
smell you right through the phone.
right through the phone. Yeah, I'm actually wearing Halston cologne after I showered today. So yeah, see,
Nice.
so.
I feel special.
Yeah, no, you're better. I brought out all the full stops for you, Jody. So,
All
all right. So now, so you're saying that basketball was the third sport in line? It was basically baseball and then football and then basketball. Is that how it happened?
So I didn't start playing basketball until I was a seventh grader.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I never knew that. I never knew that. I thought you were a product of Harrison Recreation from the time of when you were like 5 years old. No, you didn't play till seventh grade.
Yeah, I don't recall playing. I don't know if I was on like a little TV team or something like that, but I recall playing in the seventh grade with like Teresa Trusillo, Angel Lombardi. They got me introduced to the sport of basketball, and then they.
Angel's gonna be really, really happy that she just got on this podcast. She's gonna
Oh,
make.
I have to mention her.
Yeah.
She's the one who told me how to develop my left hand.
Really?
She said, "Kid, you are all right. Your right hand is amazing, but you can't dribble with your left hand." I was like, I didn't know. I was like,
Wow. So she developed your left hand because you developed it quickly. You developed the left hand very quickly. You could do. As a matter of fact, if you watched you playing, you would think you were ambidextrous. You would have thought that you had equal.
That's awesome you say that. That's what she told me. She goes, "Listen, you have to step on the court, and the coach from the other team doesn't know if you're lefty or righty when you dribble. That's your goal. So right now you have no left hand. Get under this basket, take 100 weekend layups every single day." I was one of those kids when people told me to do something, I did it.
Wow.
So I took 100 lefties every single day.
Every day.
Every day.
Wow.
Sometimes except Sunday.
Okay.
But
all right. So we jumped ahead a little bit. Talk a little bit. You said that football and baseball were the first two sports that you played with your dad. Okay. And basketball you didn't start until seventh grade. Why was that? Why did you not start playing basketball until you were in seventh grade? Was there a reason, or it just happened that way?
I feel like it happened that way when I was growing up at that time. I don't feel like basketball was very like it wasn't out there or available as much.
Okay.
And, I just remember like my dad said, "Hey, there's a little league team. Do you want to play? Do you want to try out for the team?" And I was like, "Are you there?" I was like painfully shy. I don't know if you remember me as painfully.
No, I don't remember you as being an 8-year-old. Sorry, Jody. That's going back a lot.
Yeah, right. I was pretty shy. Like even as like growing up in high school, I was really shy as well.
Okay.
But anyway, I was like, "Are you gonna coach the team, Dad? If you coach the team, I'll play." And I remember, I don't know how old I was, maybe like 9 or something.
Yep.
And he was like, so he ended up coaching the team, and then boom, there was nothing better. I just loved it.
Okay.
He was like an assistant coach. He was just there and made me feel a little more comfortable. And then
Do you remember the name of the little league team you played for?
Oh God, I'm gonna apologize in advance.
Okay.
My weakness is the memory of details. I know I'm the worst person to interview when it comes to like remembering details because I'm the worst.
Okay.
Don't know the name of the team.
All right, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay.
So Little League World Series and lost in like the finals or something. We were traveling all over. We had a good squad. I do remember that.
Well, was Raymond on the same team with you or no?
Yes, sir.
Oh well, that helps. It helps to have somebody like him on your team. It helps. All right. So now, as you're growing up, you're in seventh grade. You said you never played basketball until you were in seventh grade. How good were you, or were you really, really horrible when you first started?
I think honestly, I kind of stunk, to be honest. If I'm analyzing myself, I was probably like, I don't know if I was 80 pounds or something like that, and I could not reach the hoop well. So like everything you teach your kids not to do, that's how I shot. I brought it all the way down my waist and like hailed it up there.
Okay.
I didn't know how to use my legs yet and all that. I was just chucking it. I was a good dribbler with my right hand.
Okay.
And I could really go by anybody with my right hand.
That was never a problem. You being the quickest little thing that ever lived, that was damn sure. So yeah.
So and then with time, I was coached, and as soon as I was coached in the sport, I don't know if you want to jump to Jack Rogers or not yet.
No. Let's talk still before we get to high school.
Yeah,
So
okay.
So when did you start to realize that you were getting good at basketball?
I started to love basketball, and that I could be good at it when I met Jack Rogers.
Oh, okay. So we jumped right into it. So 7th and 8th grade, you played, but you don't think you were that good?
I don't think I was a star. Definitely not.
Okay.
Definitely not. I mean, I don't know if I stood out or not to some people. I just know I was a good dribbler and can make layups and play the defense. But
that's all you needed to do to play for Raj. That's all, right?
Exactly.
Right. Make layups and play defense and handle the ball. That's all you needed to do. That's it. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. All right. So now you get to high school, and you did not. Did you play soccer or any of those sports at all, or you just concentrated strictly on basketball, or did you want to play baseball or softball in high school?
Yeah. So I was a three-sport athlete.
All right. Tell me.
I'm a fan of three-sport athletes all the way.
So am I.
Yes, absolutely. I push for kids to do that all the time. Now, as a coach, I encourage it. I think it's going to make you more well-balanced and a better athlete in general. And it's good on the body to not just one sport nonstop.
Right.
All right. But anyway, where were we here? What was your question? I'm sorry.
When did you start to realize that you were getting good?
Soccer.
Or no, better yet, playing 3 sports. So what were the other sports you played? Soccer and softball?
I actually played soccer for only 2 years, though, my freshman and sophomore year. And my sophomore year, I we were at practice, and the ball was coming to me like a breakaway shot on the goalie, and the goalie ran out. This is my own teammate because we're at practice. And I went to shoot it, and she came at me to stop it. Just broke my femur bone.
That's what I remember. I remember that story. I remember that a broken leg ended your soccer career, right?
Yeah, I think, and then after that, it was
And was it a really bad break that you needed to have surgery?
I didn't need surgery, but I was in a cast from my toes to my hip, a straight leg, and I had to get homeschooled for 8 weeks.
Oh my God!
It was terrible. They wouldn't let me come to school because it was too dangerous on the stairs because I couldn't bend my leg.
Right.
And then I had to sit home for 8 weeks, which is torturous for me. And I looked out my window and watched all my teammates come down Davis Avenue, going to soccer practice. Just want to pretty much cry every day.
Okay.
I couldn't play sports, and I hated every second of that.
All right. And so did that broken leg cost you from playing basketball? Explain that a little bit. A broken leg's not easy to come back from. So what happened there?
I mean, the femur bone is the largest bone in your body, and when I went to the doctor and he told me about this, he devastated my life. He basically said, okay, he explained the whole thing. You have a broken femur bone, blah, blah, blah. I just want to prepare you that there's a very good likelihood that you won't be able to play basketball ever again.
Ever again? Ever?
Ever again. And all I did was go in there and tell him, I just want to be ready for whatever, Thanksgiving. By Thanksgiving, I need to be ready because it's basketball, it's basketball. And he said, that's his exact words to me. And I was like, what? He said there's a slight chance that my leg would be shorter than the other leg.
Oh my God!
Still growing.
Oh my God!
So I was like, tears for fears, and I was like, this is not happening. And my savior, Jack Rogers, he was amazing on my recovery. As soon as my cast got off, he was the athletic director at the time, and English teacher. So on any
and he was also the girls' basketball coach too, already at that point. Right, okay.
Right. So he brought me into the pool. At 6 a.m., he started like this. At 6 a.m., he got me lifting weights with Jody Hill
in
the morning in the weight room. So before school, I would lift the weights with my legs, upper body, all that, for 1 hour. Then I would shower, blah, blah, blah. And then alternating mornings, he would ride his bike to my house, and him and I would bike ride to Rutherford and back from Harrison every day to get my legs strong.
Wow.
Yeah, he would do that with me, and I was just like, he's like, don't worry, we're going to get you back, we're going to to get you back. Don't listen to the doctors. You're going to be good. And I believed them. I said, I'm willing to do whatever I can do to play. So whatever you tell me to do, I'm doing.
I wonder if he knew already at that time that you were going to be good.
Well, I was already a sophomore here, so.
Oh, so you were already starting varsity by then.
Yeah, I mean, I started varsity my freshman year.
Right.
So, yeah, I think he kind of said it's my point guard for the next 4 years.
Right.
We got to get her.
I got to buy her a Cadillac. Never mind, take her on a bike to Rutherford.
Yeah, so it was good, and he got me in the pool, and like during school hours, I sometimes, whether my lunch or whatever, he got me in the pool sitting on the edge doing flippers, like putting a flipper on my foot, and then I would like extend my legs. He would have me running in the pool, treading water in the pool. So it was nonstop rehab, and I didn't miss a day of practice.
Not once. Day after Thanksgiving, you were ready to go.
Day after Thanksgiving, ready to go.
Wow. All right.
My legs are absolutely fine to this day.
That is a great story. Now I got.
I love Jack Riders for a lot of reasons, and that's one of my biggest ones.
Well, now I love him even more. See,
I know, right?
I was just with him 2 days ago, so I mean, he's one of my favorite people in the world. So all right. So anyway, so now when you go into Harrison High, okay, you're entering Harrison High as a freshman, okay, and you said you were shy, all right. Did you think to yourself, okay, well, sports is going to be my avenue to make myself a better person and make myself more, be more of a social person? And did you know at that point when you first walked in that sports was going to be your avenue? That was going to be your life.
Yeah, I would say I knew that as an 8th grader because I don't know if it's Angel Lombardi, possibly. I'm giving her a shout out again. I believe she encouraged me to go to the basketball tournament when I was an 8th grader, and Alice Burgos and Chrissy Cutt were playing.
Yep. Okay.
And they were like such influential people in my life where she would just be like, watch these two, you're going to be like them. You're going to be the next star of Harrison High School.
Angel said that to you?
Yeah, she said all this
stuff.
Wow. I was like, all right, let me see. And then I was like, damn, they're so good. And the defense and all that, it was just so inspiring.
Okay.
All of a sudden I was like, all right, I want to be a part of this. Like, I watched them win this game, and I think it was the craziest comeback. I don't know if you remember this game.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. The announcer was announcing, like, Harrison gave a good effort.
Yeah, Harrison, it was a great season for Harrison. Yeah, and it won.
Yeah. They came back, like, from a crazy comeback and won. It was, like, so
down 23 in the second half. Down 23 in the second half, and the announcer was even saying, well, we're going to thank everybody for coming to the games this season, whatever. Yeah.
I was introduced to Jack Rogers, and he was like, listen, the timing of it, I'm graduating Alice Burgos, Chris Cut, my point guard. I want you to be the point guard coming in next year, but this is what we got to do to get the job. And then basically, he gave me all these drills to do all summer, dribble with 2 balls, all this stuff.
Okay.
Of course, whatever he said to do, I did it.
Okay.
Because I just saw like how successful of a program he was running, and he knew, I knew what it took to get to that level because he just explained to all the players, like, he had this way about him to get you to believe what he's telling you.
Okay.
Like, if he says, if you want to be great, if you want to be the next best player, if you want to win a championship, whatever it may be, this is what you got to do.
Okay.
And then I personally took his words as, like, gold. And whatever, like, you could see me religiously at the courts 11 o'clock every morning over the summer.
Yep.
I was down from right across where Kim McDonough used to live, at the complex there.
Okay.
Down Davis Ave.
Yep.
Where I forget what you call it now. It's been a while, but
I don't know honestly, I don't know what it's called either. I know what court you're talking about, but I don't know what it's called. So I don't know if it has a name. It's definitely not West Hudson Park. That's for sure. No.
I'd be there from 11 o'clock to like a minimum 12:30, 1 o'clock, just by myself.
Okay.
For 2 hours before I got my day going over the summer, every single day that 8th grade year. And I did exactly what he told me to do. And it's funny because people were like, oh, I hear Jody's ball bouncing down Davis Ave. You going to the course at 11 o'clock every day.
Yep.
I made it like a routine. routine like brushing my teeth,
Yep.
I got to brush my teeth, I got to have breakfast, I got to take a shower, and I got to practice basketball.
Okay. All right. Now, did you know right away that you were going to play 3 sports in high school? Was that the goal? Did you want to play soccer and you wanted to play softball? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, baseball was my love, so
And you were good.
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was fun. I was the shortstop. I pitched a little in baseball, and I played first base a little bit.
Yep.
So I couldn't listen. To this day, sports is my life. Like, there's nothing more fun to me than playing and coaching sports.
Okay.
It's my life. I don't know. If somebody's like, oh God, it's the summer. Like, why aren't you sitting on the beach relaxing? I could sit on the beach for about 10 minutes relaxing. I'm like, all right, anybody want to play whistle? Like, I'm just not made to like just sit down and relax.
Okay.
To me, like, enjoying life is like being active and being around sports. It just completes me. I don't know. I just
See, you got that from Anthony. See, Anthony didn't sit down at all. He had 2 jobs, and he'd come home and he'd want to play sports with his daughters. So same. You are him. Yeah. So, all right. Now at that point in your life, as you entered Harrison, okay, were you a better basketball player than you were a softball player, or did basketball have to catch up to you what you did in the other sports?
I would say my freshman year, basketball had to catch up.
Yep.
To softball.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it was just I was naturally, I think, a good fielder just because I grew up playing so long and throwing the ball off my wall, tennis ball, catching it with one hand.
Right.
Like all these, just growing up, like basically whatever you do the most, you're probably the best at,
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I just was playing baseball so much.
Okay, so how much did playing baseball with and against the boys help you to become a better softball player?
Oh, definitely. I mean, catching a softball was even easier than catching a baseball. So it was like, the speed of everything was a lot slower. Like, I wasn't the best hitter. I would just be like a single hitter. I would just, get on base by like hitting it on the ground up the middle or something like
and
that.
Running it out, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I was never a home run hitter or anything like that. But, I loved playing the field. I just loved it. I loved making outs. I loved diving for balls at shortstop.
Wow.
Throw. Like, I always pretty much had a good arm, too. So it was like, it came naturally to me, and that's how baseball happened. But
but then basketball came along, and then that was the rest of it, All right.
And I think it's because of, like, Jack Rogers, though. It's what really made me love the sport the most and put everything else to the side. Like, I played softball and I played soccer, but I committed all my off-season time to basketball.
Okay. When did you start to realize that you were getting very good at basketball? Not just good, but very good. Was that right away as a freshman? Because you were scoring right away as a freshman. Not a prolific scorer like you were by the time you were a senior, but you were averaging double digits already as a freshman, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with our tempo of the game, like that we played at Harrison High School.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I was getting a lot of like steals off of our defense and going in for layups. So as a freshman, I would say I wasn't the shooter I became because like I started putting in the time, like taking probably 1,000 shots every day, and then that's when I became the shooter that I've become.
Okay.
I would say maybe sophomore year, I felt like, okay, this I love this, and I'm going to make myself the best that I can be at this because I want to keep playing. I love playing for this team. I love playing for this coach. It's like one of the most competitive sports at Harrison High School where it comes to like winning championships and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, I dedicated myself to it because I've grown a love for it.
Okay, but you played softball all 4 years, right?
Well, you just cut out a little bit.
Oh, sorry. I said you played softball all 4 years, right?
Oh, yeah. All 4 years. I played for Teresa. This is Coach Moore.
Coach Moore. Pat Moore.
Yeah.
Pat Moore. Yeah.
Pat Moore, yes.
Yep. Okay.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Right. All right. So, you made all league already as a freshman, and then by the time you were a sophomore, you were in another plateau. And did you sense and did you see that yourself you were developing as a basketball player by the time you were a sophomore? That you were, you were more than just a point guard. You were a point guard who could score.
Yeah, well, Raj instilled that enough times in me. I mean, the ongoing joke is, I think somebody even put it in the yearbook, and there's a picture of us, and he put, Hill, shoot the...
Yeah.
And he just was like, I love to pass. It's not like creating,
Yep.
driving addition. Like, that was my favorite thing in basketball, being a point guard and delivering passes to everybody, getting everybody involved. That was my passion. I loved it. But he's like, no, we need you to be a scorer. We need you to be a scorer. I'm like, He goes, you got to shoot from the outside. When you're open, you have to shoot. And he'd scream at me every time I didn't shoot when I was open. Like, literally scream at me.
Right.
And,
And when...
We all know he's a little nuts.
Oh, no. What makes you say that? What makes you say that? Okay.
It really gets how nuts he is if you didn't play for him.
Oh, no. If you coached against him, you knew he was nuts too. He was nuts.
He's throwing Gatorade bottles in the locker room. He's nuts.
Nuts.
But he always had like a plan. He didn't just be nuts because he wanted to be nuts.
Yeah.
By being nuts, he's going to get the best out of each and every one of us.
Okay.
And he did.
There's no question he got that. All right. Hold on 1 second. We'll be back with the second half of our talk with Jody Hill. We're rolling through it already. We haven't even gotten to her high school years. And we'll be back with the second half in just a second after this word from Stan Sports Center. But Stan Sports Center is your local full-service sporting goods vendor and authorized team dealer. They offer quality products and dozens of brands to outfit your team top to bottom. Stan's has proudly been supporting the local community since 1946 and is your one-stop shop for uniforms, equipment, online team stores, and much more. Locations in Hoboken and Saddlebrook and servicing the entire tri-state area. Visit them on the web at Stans Plural, Sports Plural, CTR.com. That's Stans Plural, Sports Plural, CTR.com. And check them out on social media for their latest creations. And that's Stan Sports Center, located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Telephone number there is 201-798-4466. And if you go to Stan's in Hoboken and you say to either Danny or Louie or Todd or any of my friends that are down at Stan Sports Center and you mention that you heard Jody Hill on the Hudson County Sports Podcast, they'll give you 10% off on anything that's retail in the store. Not a bad deal at all. So if you take a visit to Stan's, mention the Hudson County Sports Podcast and you get 10% off. Not a bad deal. That's Stan Sports Center, the sponsor for the Hudson County Sports Podcast. All right, we're back now with Jody Hill. And we haven't even gotten into her glorious high school years yet. So we got a little bit of work. But Jody, talk a little bit about the responsibility that you had as you grew older under playing for Raj, and you went from being just a point guard to, by the time you were a senior, you were almost like the coach on the floor. You were telling everybody else what they should and what they shouldn't do. And it was almost like you were becoming a coach before you even got out of high school. And is that a fair assessment? Do you think that you were already thinking and acting like a coach before you even got out of high school?
That's an interesting question. One, when I was a freshman, sophomore, I would never in a million years think I would ever be a coach. And because of my shyness, Raj actually had to put me in the middle, and I hated him for this, by the way. He put me in the middle of the gym and made me scream outlet because he said I wasn't loud enough.
Wow, okay.
The whole team stand around me in a circle, and he was like, louder! And I was like, outlet! Louder! And then he just kept going. I was like, oh my God, this guy. And finally, I just screamed it on the top of my lungs. And at that point, he was like, that's how you be a leader. That's how you talk. And then he got me to, like, break my shell a little bit with, like, being the shyness. Like, kind of got it out of me.
Okay.
And then once I was able to get that out of me, I became a better leader. Because I felt like the only leadership I ever had was lead by example. But I wasn't a vocal leader.
Okay.
When I was like a freshman and a sophomore. So, then game. I want you to foul me when the score is tied. I want to get to the foul line and hit like confidence and like taking the ball at the end of the game.
Okay.
Something that I wanted, and I felt like the only reason I felt like that is because I always said to myself, I worked harder than anybody else on the court, and I knew that.
Good.
Like and I think like he helped me understand that. He's like, no one is putting in the time you put in. You have to understand that when you step foot onto the court all the time, the endless hours that you've dedicated to sport, no one compares to it. So you have to play like that. You have to know you deserve it. You put in the time, and it's kind of like it hit me that. Yeah, and I ended up wanting to put in more time because I wanted nobody. If somebody says how many hours you practice, I always wanted to have the highest answer.
Okay.
No matter what. When I go play AAU, when I go play anywhere, I want to put in more time. I look forward to the rain. You know why? Somebody told me.
Well, nobody else is going to be out in the courts in the rain. You might as well go out there and shoot, right?
That was my advantage. I'm going to take advantage of today because most people are home indoors thinking, it's raining, I'm going to take the day off.
Yep.
Just like my AAU coach was talking about too. He's like, how are you going to get the edge? Like that's key. How are you going to get the edge on other players? You're 90 pounds. You can't jump that high. You know? What are you going to do? He's like, you need to work harder than everybody else. And the biggest thing I think I learned is you have to be the one that's in the best shape on the court. And
okay.
That was something in my control. I couldn't control how high I jumped, how fast. Maybe I could work on my speed, but my height.
You didn't need to work on your speed, but go ahead.
But I could work on being the best one in shape.
Yeah.
And that's what I did.
Okay.
It's funny because even my sister Leanne, I remember she's like, "You want to come to the mall?" And I'm like, I was in high school. I'm like, going to the mall. I'm not a shopper. I hated that. But then we were driving home. I went with her anyway. Driving home, we hit like East Newark, and I'm like, there's 9,000 lights in Harrison, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, drop me off at this corner. I'm gonna race you home.
Oh my God.
I was psychotic. I think I was a little psychotic. I always needed to have a day where I was working out or I didn't feel like home.
Okay.
But that's just how I was. I have very competitive nature, and whatever I can control, I was going to control. And being in the best shape was one of those things. So, Brian Higgins across the street from me in
Sure.
Avenue.
Yep.
He had a little weight room in his garage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anytime it was raining, we'd go in there, we'd lift weights, bench press, do all of it. Growing up with the boys in Harrison, I would say was the best thing for me. Like, I had the best friends.
Okay.
Guy friends. Best guy friends you could ever have.
Now, are you and Raymond the same age? Or is he older?
I'm older than
Oh, you're older.
Than him,
Okay.
Actually. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, so how many years older are you than Raymond? 2?
Is it 1 or 2? I still don't know to this day. I think
Okay.
it could potentially be 1, I feel like.
Yeah,
I'm not
all right.
100%, but I think it's 1.
All right. So anyway, how much and did you play a lot with him growing up, and how much did he motivate you to become a better athlete? Because you know what, if you wanted to stay on the court and be with Ray Lucas, you had to work hard, right?
Exactly. Is it okay if I share a funny story with you?
Please.
Okay. So, the first thing I was taught was, if you want to be good, you got to go play with the boys. I was like, all right.
Right.
Then I'm going to go play with the boys. When I'm talking play with the boys, we're talking about my boy back in the day was Rocco Russamano, right?
Okay.
He ended up going on full ride to Lehigh for football. He played football, and then Pete Young, he also went, and we're playing with Michael Gilmore, we're playing with Ray Lucas, we're playing with all these guys who are just so good. Like,
okay.
I'm talking male top athlete, and
right.
then here comes little me, like, wanting to get in the game with them, you know what I mean? So, only because they're my boys that they insisted, no, let her play, she's playing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be picked. Because how it worked in Harrison was there's a long line of people from God knows where, everywhere, back in the day when I grew up, trying to get on the court to play basketball.
Yep.
So it was
and you had to call winners, and you better have a good team with you if you're going to call winners, because if not, you were one and done. That was a new meaning for one and done back then, right? Yep.
If you lost, you were out for like the next 45 minutes
At least.
Just waiting to play again.
Right.
So there was always, the courts were packed every night until 10 o'clock at night, and then the lights went off, and then we had to leave. But that was my routine every single day of my life in the summer. Just boom, 10, even during school hours, school days. But anyway, here's the story.
Good.
So my boy Rocco brings me on, and he's like, she's playing with us. And then I saw this, there was this mailman. I don't know if he ever hears this, he's going to crack up. His nickname was like Spud. I don't know if he ever but he was freaking good. He like was very talented. Everybody says he could have went really far in basketball, but he tore his ACL, I think, or something like that.
Okay.
So
Spud the mailman, we're going to look for you.
Spud the mailman, I'm telling you, he was so ridiculously good.
Okay.
But he was not a fan of me. He was like girls on the court. Like I was the only girl there, and I looked like a little baby, you know?
Yeah.
And he was not having it. So I'm going to tell you this, something that changed my life.
Good.
That changed my life.
Good, I like it.
We're playing full court game. It's a close game, all this stuff. Probably halfway into the game, I think I'm holding my own. Like, I'm doing all right for being out there for the first time. Like, I probably was a sophomore.
Oh, this is the first time you're playing with the boys?
No, but with him.
Oh, with him. Okay. We would Spud the mailman. Okay. No,
he was not having it.
Okay.
So, true story. He comes running. I'm jogging back on defense, like getting back on defense. He comes running behind me, literally takes his elbow and freaking whales it into the back of my neck.
Oh my God! Wow.
As hard as he can. And then I was like, it hurt more than anything you can imagine. And I looked back just to see, like, what the hell was that? And it was him. And I know what he was doing.
He wanted to intimidate you and get you off the floor. That's exactly what he's thinking about. Right. Yeah, no question.
And in my head, I was like, all right, that's what he's doing. And I'm going to show, I'm not even going to act like that happened. So I didn't respond. I didn't let anybody know it hurt. Everybody else on the court didn't even know it happened. Only him and I knew it happened.
Okay.
And I was like, what a jerk. You know what I mean? Thinking in the back of my head, but I just kept playing. And the best thing that I've learned from that was that I gained respect because the next time out you're picking five. How about Spud the mailman picking me to be on his team?
Did he really?
He did. I think I gained respect and just like, bro, when I tell you growing up in Harrison taught you to be tough, that's one example of many where, you know, if that doesn't happen to me, like maybe I'm not as tough as I could have been. Like it's just teaching you like don't take crap, don't be a baby, suck it up, like all this stuff.
Yeah, but if you were playing with Rocco Rusumano, you had no other choice but to be tough because that was a man. He was a man at 13. He was he was shaving at 12. You know.
I know. Right, it's great. I mean, I couldn't have been happier with the people I grew up with in Harrison, and I feel like all my friends, girls and guys, molded me to be who I am today.
Right. Well, there's no question. Ray Lucas always constantly says that one of his favorite teammates that he ever played with was you. He always said, and I said, why do you say that, Ray? He goes, because I knew I was going to get the ball. So
the feeling's mutual.
Yeah.
I love playing with him as well.
Yeah. And he's a great guy, and he's a good friend. Just words can't describe. And he's been on the Hudson County Sports Podcast too. So he's been a guest. All right. So now we get. All right. So now you're a junior in high school, and you're starting to getting a little bit of attention. And correct me if I'm wrong. When you were juniors, that's when you won the state championship, or you won it as a senior? You won it as a junior, right?
Well, see, I told you about details. I think we were sectional state champs. Possibly both years.
Both junior and senior. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And what?
I still got the blue tie jacket. I have to look at the date.
All right. I know for a fact one of those 2 years you won the sectional, you won North Jersey, and you went to the overall Group 1 state championship game. And that I'm not going to remember.
I know. I feel like I remember losing to Patterson Kennedy with the Wright twins.
With the Wright twins, but that's not in the state tournament though, because they were Group 3, and you were Group.
Yeah, that could have been like maybe after we won the state.
Yeah, could have been. Yes.
The other group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Could have been, you know what? That could have been in the Tournament of Champions.
Something. I just remember that was a big game, and I remember just like, oh, we almost had them. That
Yep.
was a great team, but came up short.
Oh well, that's all right. So that means you still won state sectional championships, and if you played in the Tournament of Champions, that means you won Group 1 overall. And is that a chance? Could you have done that?
I don't believe we did. I believe we won the sectional.
Okay. All right. Anyway. All right. So, but now as a junior, you're already first team All County, and that's pretty hard to do considering a Harrison girl to be first team All County in Hudson County. Was that then when you started to get some letters from colleges, and what was that like when the first time you got a letter from a college showing a little bit of interest in you?
Oh yeah, that was a fun day. I remember the day, and I should remember the college, but I don't know if I'm going to. I feel like it was Princeton for some crazy reason. Princeton, I don't know why, but Raj called me in.
Did you have Princeton grades?
Well, I was like, I did well academically.
Okay.
I was the smartest one, but I just applied myself hard.
All right.
But in Harrison, it was such a small thing, so like, I think I graduated top 10 in my class.
Oh, you did? Okay, good. All right.
I did, but it was a struggle for me. It didn't come naturally. I wasn't actually just smart. I was like a book smart, you know what I mean?
You were naturally good, like you were a basketball player. All right. So, but anyway, all right. So, but you don't remember what school it was that you got your first letter from?
It was Princeton. I don't know why Princeton comes to my head, but
okay.
It might have been. But anyway, it was my first letter. He called me into his office and sat me down, and he made a big deal about it. And it was just like, this is going to be one of many coming, and I want you to keep this forever. This is your first college, whatever letter. And I was just like, wow, man, that was so cool, and I read it. It was handwritten. It was like big deal. It was like a big deal, and that was
as well. It should have been. Okay, so that's when you did you realize at that point, like saying, okay, this is pretty cool. This is I'm getting really good at this. If the colleges know who I am.
Yes. And that day, I think I said, I'm playing college basketball, and I want to get more of these letters, so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and work harder than I think I'm already working.
Okay.
And then it worked out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure. And Raj, were you first team All State or just first team All State Group 1?
I was first team All State all groups.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought you were first team All State. So
top 5
in the whole state, right? Okay.
Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong too. In the North-South All-Star game, which was played at Monmouth, you had a day and a half. Like you had like 26, 28, and that's hard to do in an All-Star game, but you were going nuts in that game. And
yeah, I was feeling it. I mean, I remember that game. It was like, I have it on, I think I still have it on video. It was on TV.
It was on TV, yes.
Yeah. It was just like playing with such talent around me. I was just like amazed. And you can make these passes to these athletes just filling the lane, and they had no trouble like catching, finishing. It was so fun.
And then you play on the same North All-Star team with Tammy Hammonds, who went to USC. Wasn't she on that team too? Yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think she was one of the other 5 who made
first team All-State. Oh, without question, she was All-American.
Yeah.
She was a parade. I think she was the same year as you too. She was a parade All-American. And you know who her teammate was at Irvington, right?
Kinley.
No, Kinley went to St. Anthony's. Her teammate at Irvington High School was a power forward, left-handed shooter, really, really big bottomed, heavy girl. But I don't know. Her name was Dana Owens. And you know who?
Okay.
And do you know who?
I heard of the name.
All right. Do you know who Dana Owens became?
Who?
Queen Latifah.
No way.
Yeah. She was on that same state championship team with Tammy Hammonds. The two of them worked together. Isn't that wild? Yeah. So anyway, all right. Did you now you're a senior in high school? You're having a great senior year, as we fully well say. You played in the state All-Star game, first team All-State. did you at any when was the colleges? Did you have to make a decision? And how in the world did Pace get into the mix?
So, all right. I actually ended up, I don't know, like to this day, some people are like, do you regret signing early? And I don't regret anything because I feel like everything happens for a reason and I'm in a very happy place, so I wouldn't want it any differently. However, I ended up signing my junior year, sign early. You know,
Oh, you did? Oh, you signed in the early signing
I
period.
did.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so many colleges like were saying, why did you sign so early? Like, because my senior year was such a breakout year, I guess.
Yeah, no, it became. You went from being very good to a superstar by the time you were a senior. When you were a junior, you were very good, and everybody knew you were going to play college. But I think by the time you were a senior, everybody thought you were going to play major college. So now you're telling me you signed early with Pace. Well, then Pace.
Yeah.
Well, Pace must have been.
I'm going to tell you why, though. I'm going to tell you why.
Please.
All right. So, Chrissy Cup went to play at Pace University.
That's correct. Yep.
That's number one. And she was one of my, role models. I looked up to her and Augsburg so much. But one night, this is what happened. So, Chrissy Cup.
And Burgos went to Wagner, right?
Wagner.
Yeah.
And I was looked at by Wagner as well.
Yep.
But anyway, one night, as usual.
Well, you were looked at by St. Peter's College too, but Brunelli always says that you're one of the ones he somehow let get away. He goes, I don't know how I let that one get away, but yeah, all right.
I don't know. But anyway, the story goes like this. Chrissy got told the Pace coach, listen, if you want to get Jody to come to your school, go to the courts. She'll be playing. And you pick any night of the week, she'll be there. She's like, I'm not driving all the way from New York to New Jersey to go see her play. And you tell me she's going to be there. But there's a great chance she won't be there. How do we know she'll be there? And Chrissy Cup told me, she said, trust me, she's there every night of the week until 10 o'clock. You don't have to second guess, she'll be there. So who rolls up to the courts? Chrissy Cup and Coach Jones.
Together.
With the Pace coach together.
Okay.
And then I'm playing pickup with all the guys, the whole girl on the court as usual. And one of the guys tells me, he's like, Jode, there's some lady over there calling, wants to talk to you. And I look over and I'm like, oh shit, that's the friggin' Pace coach. So I come out of the courts. She's like, I just wanted to come by to tell you, that we're really, really interested in you. I think you're a tremendous player. Whatever she says to me, and she goes, I just want you to know I drove all the way down here. I heard you'd be playing basketball. Of course, I want to just watch your game. Is it okay if I sit over here and watch you play for a little bit? And she just got me. I don't know. I loved her. She just really.
Well, was she the only coach that came to the courts to come and see you play?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that'll do it.
It was cool. I just felt home with her. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And because I'm kind of shy and stuff like that, I just felt going into these places where I don't know a lot of people. I just felt like I had a connection there.
Okay.
And to me, that just sold me. I don't know. It's weird.
All right. Well, no, it's not. That's not weird. That's a great story. And guess what? That's a great recruiting tool. Now, if another college coach hears that and says, "Hey, if there's somebody I really want, I better go watch them play in the courtyards." Although nobody plays in the courtyard anymore, but this. Oh, it kills me too. Kills me.
Get off the electronics, kids.
Get out of the house and go play ball. Go make friends. Some of the best friends I ever made in my life was playing basketball all over the place.
Absolutely, to this day.
Yeah, me and my best friend growing up in Jersey City in the Greenville section, we used to go from court to court to court all the way wherever we could walk within distance. We would go together just so we could see if we can get in the game and play together. And we would go like the first 15, 20 blocks into Bayonne. Then we after we get on the city line, we wouldn't dare stop at Kerry's Woods, but then we'd continue on and go to St. Paul's and then play all in the area wherever we could find a game. Me and my best friend would go and find it. And his name John Rochford. Roch, if you hear this, I'm mentioning you again. Yeah, see, he's still my best friend, and still to this day we talk on a regular basis. And
that's what it's about, right?
Yep, that was what all it was about.
So
yep.
Fun.
And then you feel
it
Oh.
We could do anything. We could do anything.
Well, plus we knew each other's moves, and he knew where I was going to be, and I knew where he was going to be on the court. So like it was really a lot of fun playing with him. And then if there was nobody else around, we would play 1-on-1, and that were wars. They were physical wars. We'd play 1-on-1 to the point where you'd think like everybody would watch us and going, "Who are those two? They gotta hate each other," Like, and no, we would go crazy. And then you're going to get a kick out of this. Roch and I used to play on a regular basis, 2-on-2, with two girls from our neighborhood that played big-time college basketball at Montclair State, and none other than Alice Schmidt-DeFazio and Kathy Myers O'Callahan. And we used to play 2-on. What's that?
You guys or what?
Sometimes, but then again, we were like 13. They were like in college, so I mean, they should beat us, But they also, like knew how to like set a pick and then roll to the basket and pass behind the back. And both of them were really, really good, and it was a lot of fun to play with both of them. And they still were great friends of mine, and they all. Alice would say, "Please don't tell the stories about us playing 2-on-2 in the courtyard." I said, "Why not? It's a great story."
You're going to tell me even more.
Yeah, no. And it's unfortunately we lost Alice last year, and it's really horrible. Yep, no question. All right, but anyway, so now you go to Pace, and was that a totally different style of basketball that you were used to playing in terms of with Raj? It was run and gun and press and trap and get the ball, the turnovers and lay it in. And knowing Pace University basketball, knowing that conference, that wasn't the same with you, was it? You basically was more structured than run and gun, right?
Yeah, it was a lot more structured, and I'd say I had a hard time a little bit with like the half court game. I just wanted to, because sometimes I felt like I could push it when she's saying slow it up, set it up, set it up.
Yep.
And meanwhile, I'm like, Coach, I can get it as a layup. Let me just drive and
just let me get the ball and go by everybody. Yeah, that's
yeah. But sometimes like that, I think she got the hang of me, and she was like, listen, when you think you have it, you take it, and not take the shot myself, dish it off to somebody.
Right.
So the fast break game still was good, and she let me loose when it came to that.
All right, Jody, correct me. When were you already in high school when the 3-point shot came into effect, or did it come into effect when you got to college?
All right, don't quote me on this, but I think it came in my senior year.
Of high school. Right.
Of high school.
Okay.
But it wasn't. Yeah, I didn't have, or I think it came my senior year because I didn't shoot threes because there was no 3-point line, so I was like, you didn't know, like I stepped behind the line a little bit and you get one more point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I didn't have the 3-point line when I was playing. Possibly my senior year, or it happened my freshman year in college.
In college. All right. So how much did that have to change your game a little bit? Knowing fully point, and not like it is now, which is ridiculous. But how much did it change your game a little bit, knowing fully well that you had to practice the 3-point shot?
I mean everything, because to be honest, I'm a muscle memory person. Like when I'm taking my 15-foot jump shots, it's like I can almost close my eyes and make them in college and high school. But move me back to the 3-point line. It was a whole new experience for me. I was off.
Yeah, huh? Okay.
Yeah, I didn't practice that. So to me, like I needed to get in the gym and take a million threes because it took more energy, like more legs or more whatever. It took more power from me, and it just wasn't natural. So yeah, I had to adjust. And I remember my coaches got me in for individual workouts and put me behind a 3-point line until I got used to it.
All right, but then you became pretty proficient at it by the time you were a senior in college, right? That was part of your game.
I still was never like a huge 3-point shooter, to be honest. I was more like the disher in college and just hitting like 15, 17 footers.
Okay.
I never became like a hot 3-point shooter because two girls on my team were the big 3-point shooters, so I basically had my role.
Okay.
In college, and that's where what I mean. Like college is more know your role.
Yep.
And my role was being the point guard, delivering, running the offense, playing good D, fast breaks, and hitting my 15-footer when I'm
Okay.
Not too much. Yeah.
All right. But you still ended up being a 1,000-point scorer in college, which that's an amazing feat in itself because it's not easy to do, and especially there's more competition on the college level than there is on the high school level. So just for the fact that you were a 1,000-point scorer says a lot about how successful you were at Pace, and more importantly, the team was pretty good too. Correct?
I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason. I always tell everybody, listen, they're going, you scored 2,000 points in high school. You're such a ball hog. And I'm just like, oh my God, I hate that because I probably was the farthest thing from a ball hog. I hated like being I always wanted to pass. Like
right.
That's just my thing. But because we were so successful, we played like 30 games. Like, think about it. We played 30 games a year in high school.
Yep.
And in college, I mean, we were 27-3. We had very good teams. So when you're winning and you keep advancing, like we went all the way to the Elite Eight.
Yep.
Like, the more games you play, the more points you're going to get. So, yeah, part of my success was because of our team success.
Okay. And here's the thing that jumps out in the biography in the Hudson County Hall of Fame. You were 111 and 12 in your 4 years of college. You know that? Did you know that stat?
No, wait. What did you say?
You were your combined record in 4 years of college was 111 and 12.
Oh, no, I didn't know that, to be honest.
Yeah, see, that's pretty amazing too. So you played on some good teams. There's no.
Yeah, we had good teams surrounded by really, really good players.
Okay.
Absolutely, and good coaches.
All right, so now you go to college. Did you already know at that point that you wanted to major in? No, wait. First of all, I'm jumping the gun. Did you major in physical education, or did you major in something else and became a teacher later on?
So Jim, this is where I made my mistake in life. I know. I went to college not having a clue what I wanted to major in.
Right.
So I was like, I'm just gonna go play basketball. This is where I want to play basketball. And I'll figure out what I want to do later. I just want to be in sports. And then as I'm there, I'm like, oh shoot, I gotta pick a major. What the heck am I gonna do? And then Pace doesn't have physical education.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, a lot of schools don't have phys ed as a major. And
right.
If they did, I would be a phys ed teacher today, involved with sports and love and life. But instead, I'm teaching math, and I love it. But sometimes I wish I was in the gym.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, were you a math major?
So I got my degree in education, like elementary education, K through 8.
Okay.
Background in psychology.
Oh, okay.
Psychology. Yeah.
All right. So, did you know at that point that you already wanted to be a coach?
So, no.
No. Okay.
I'm kind of like the one-track mind. I put my mind into something, and that's what I want to do. So, all through college, I just was getting my degree, thinking, all right, one day I'll be a teacher, and but what I really want to do is just focus on playing. I just want to play. And then I was asked to be the graduate assistant coach at Pace when I graduated.
Okay.
My master's. Yeah, I started my master's degree, and then I was like, all right, I actually got into the coaching thing, and I was like, this is cool. I was out recruiting, traveling, getting players, scouting opponents, and then I got a phone call from Jack Rogers. It's like, Jode, the head coaching job for Kearny High School just opened up. I think why don't you go on an interview? It'll be a good experience, blah, blah. I think you have a really good chance of getting the job. And I was like, what? Thinking like head coach already. I was like 22.
Yep.
And I'm not ready to be a head coach, I was thinking, but I was like, screw it, I'm just going to go and see how it goes.
And plus, you were going to coach at the rival right next door.
Yeah. I was thinking I could
Yeah.
pick his head as much as I can, and we'll see what happens. But I went on an interview with Jim Selly.
Yep.
And it was a really great interview. I liked him a lot, and he offered me the job, so I ended up leaving Pace and taking it, and that's where I am still today.
Not certainly, but we're going to get to that in a second. As we got just a reminder again with who our sponsor is, and we'll continue on with Jody talking about her coaching career in 1 second. Stan Sports Center is your local full-service sporting goods vendor and authorized team dealer. They offer quality products and dozens of brands to outfit your team top to bottom. Stans has proudly been supporting the local community since 1946 and is your one-stop shop for uniforms, equipment, online team stores, and so much more. Locations in Hoboken and Saddlebrook and servicing the tri-state area. Visit them on the web at Stans Sports Center. No, take that back. Stans Sports CTR.com, and it stands plural, sports plural, CTR.com, and check them out on social media for their latest creations. That's Stan Sports Center, located at 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Telephone number there is 201-798-4466. And if you mention that you listen to the Hudson County Sports Podcast and you listen to the one with Jody Hill, they'll give you 10% off on all retail items in the store. 10% off by just mentioning the Hudson County Sports Podcast. Not a bad deal. That's our main sponsor, Stan Sports Center, and I can't thank them enough for being a sponsor on the podcast. Stan Sports Center, located 528 Washington Street in Hoboken. Telephone number is 201-798-4466. Stop in and say hi to my friends Danny and Louie and Todd. Great people down there. And just mention the Hudson County Sports Podcast and get 10% off. All right. So now, 22 years old, Jody, and you're now the head coach at Kearny. And obviously, you were not inheriting the best of programs at that time, were you?
I'll tell you, there were some great athletes in Kearny. At the time I picked it up, I forget who was coaching there over the years, but they were looking to make a change and hopefully turn the program around a little bit. There was talent, but I think just like a different mindset of how to play than what I was trying to bring in. So,
right.
I
think the success that Raj had right next door inspired the people at Kearny to say, hey, wait a minute, how in the world is he winning all the time and we can't win anything? So I think Raj's success spurred Kearny to look at you and say, hey, well, you know what? This is one of Raj's proteges, and you didn't even get a chance to, say, serve as an assistant under Raj. No, boom, you got hired right away. So I think I think they wanted to steal you. So anyway, now you're 22 years old. You're a head coach of a program that's not really doing that well, but you got to be competitive right away because you're playing in the Watchung Conference and you're playing some really big schools. Elizabeth, there was some Shabazz. Oh my gosh. All right, so
that was tough. That was almost unfair playing Shabazz.
Right.
With people in those games, but
okay.
It is what it is.
All right, so how excited were you to be a head coach at that time? And did the kids respond to you pretty well, considering the fact that you were not that far removed from high school yourself?
Yeah, so it was interesting because when I first got in, I had a cousin who just graduated from Kearny High, Cindy Vitiello. She's like, those girls are not going to listen to you. You're like 4 years older than them. I'm like, and I just got in my head a little bit. I'm like, wow, I'm like maybe 5 years older than these girls. But to me, I didn't look at the age thing. I just looked at what I can bring to the table, and I was like, I'm just going to go into this and hopefully inspire the kids and try to get the best out of them and try my best to turn the program around. And I didn't feel like that whole age thing ever really came into play. And it's funny because my alumni players now who had me at my early ages, my early coaching, said you were way tougher then than you are now. And you got soft after you had kids, now you're soft.
Oh my God.
I know. They pick on me all the time. These girls have it easy compared to when we played for you, So I think there's some truth to that. When I first started coaching, I feel like I had so much to prove that it was weighing on me. So I was more of a screamer, more of a disciplinarian.
Okay.
I maybe made it too much about me instead of them, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, okay. I personally didn't see that, but that's besides the fact. But did you did you say to yourself, okay, this is just going to be a stepping stone for me, or did you say to yourself, okay, I could see myself being here for a while?
I really, really enjoyed it right off the bat.
Right off the bat, okay.
Yeah, I did. I was like, wow, I'm so glad I said yes to this, and I just loved it. I wanted to grow every year as a coach, going to clinics and learning and sitting down with somebody like Jack Rodgers and picking his brain and taken things from different coaches that I learned throughout, like, probably 5 coaches that I played for, whether it be AAU, college, high school, and, finding little pieces that I wanted to do and still in some way be me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
To just, like, imitate somebody else. Like, you gotta be true to you too. Like, who are you? And I mean, I just loved it. Coaching became like my passion, and I never thought it would. Like, being a player was everything to me, but then not being able to compete anymore, like, I like that competition, so I was missing something in my life, like when I couldn't compete anymore.
Okay.
So,
well, did it help you at all in terms of being that young that you were able to get on the floor, and if you're like somebody screwed up, you would say, hey, this is the way you do it, look, boom, put the ball on the floor and go by people, okay? I mean, is that... did it help that you were able to get on the floor and practice and play with the girls as well?
Yeah, I mean, I did that a lot. I did that a lot in a regard where it was easy just to demonstrate what I meant instead of, like, explaining it. Because
right.
I'm a visual learner myself, so if I want to learn something, I like when somebody can show it to me. So I would try my best to do that and sometimes give them a little competition. Like, if I really want to push them defensively, but my second team maybe isn't driving hard enough or whatever, maybe I jump in and try to kind of really get them to close out the ball.
Yep.
Because now it's going to be a little faster or whatever. So, yeah, I got in a lot, and I think being young like that was definitely an advantage, sure, because now my old bones.
No, you're not doing that at all. And I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in as being a girls basketball coach. I used to have to be the point guard for the scout team when we would then the starting 5 would be together, and then I would be the point guard for the scout team, and I'd say, all right, we're giving you the score right now is 62-0. You got to try to come back and beat us. It's now 62-0, right? And I would be the point, and and that was like there was no way in the world, there was no girl that was going to pick up a charge with me coming down the lane. So like I remember there was one time somebody stepped in the lane and saw me coming, and she went, and all I heard was, "Oh God!" And that was just hysterical. We had to stop and laugh. But the idea of, did it help you being that young in terms of being a hands-on coach and being able to teach the kids, all right, this is how you're supposed to do it? And did that help?
Yeah, I think it did. It was fun getting in there with them. I think sometimes, like, they gained a little more respect for me because sometimes, like, they just would be like, damn, like, look at that pass you made or something like that.
Right.
Not that I'm ever trying to, like, show off or anything like that, but I think, like, sometimes when you watch somebody who has experience playing and you learn from them, like, so sometimes I feel like they were learning different ways to attack the basket watching me.
Okay.
And, hopefully, I think it was beneficial because they could see it and then they can try to do it themselves.
Okay.
And yeah, like you said, if you can like be that second team that they have to go against and there's more competition, there's just a lot of positives from it, I would say.
Okay. All right. So now, talk a little bit about the early days, when your first couple of years when you were coaching at Kearny, and it wasn't as successful as probably as you thought it might become. Did you get frustrated at all, or did you say, all right, well, we're going to get better, we'll get better, and you just keep working at it? Was there a sense of frustration saying, you know what, maybe this is not cut out, I'm not cut out for this, or did you just keep sticking to it and say, all right, eventually we'll be good?
Yeah, so something in my personality, one, is like never giving up.
Never giving up. Okay, good.
No, it's just not in my vocabulary. And I was relentless in the fact where I wanted to figure out how can we become better. I like would lose sleep, seriously, like just laying in bed thinking about what am I doing wrong? What do these kids need? Maybe what offense, what defense, what are anything that I could possibly do to be better. I always looked at it's interesting because when I was a player, I never blamed the coach when we lost. I always blamed myself. But as a coach, I always blame myself as the coach and not the player. It's just how I am. I'm just somebody who self-reflects a lot.
And you're hard on yourself, and you've been hard on yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So was there a sign at all, say over the first, say 5 to 10, maybe give it to 10 years? The sign that you said to yourself, you know what? This is where I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm doing, and I'm doing things the right way. And you know what? It is what it is. But I really feel good about what I'm doing, and I'm gonna keep at it and keep working at it.
Yeah, I think it's like a lot of coaches are judged on how many championships you've won and how many whatevers you won, and that makes a lot of sense, you know. And if I went on that, I probably would have been fired a long time ago. So, but what I try to go on is what what I get out of the players and what feedback I get from the players. And I mean, I look back at the years where it was like I remember the squad with like Janine Day, who's Janine Wallace right now,
Right.
Dennis and Keith Kukulis, Eileen Alarcon, Melina Montan. Like that group was the one where I was like, we turned it around. We tried to enter the Hudson County tournament.
And they wouldn't let you.
They wouldn't let us in.
Right.
But that's the unfortunate part. Like how we had such, at that stage, we had such talented teams that after like those few years in a row, and we never had anything to play for, and it was very disappointing. Like,
well, you weren't going to win the Watchung Conference because, like you said, Shabazz and Elizabeth and even later on Westfield. Those teams all dominated down there. So you know,
in the Watchung Conference, we beat Elizabeth, we beat Westfield, we beat Union here or there. The only team we never beat, we beat all the other teams. The only team we never beat was Shabazz. And one year, we lost to Shabazz by a backcourt three-point shot that Shabazz made.
Oh, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding. And that was the year we were going to beat them. And I was like, literally, we left the girl, she didn't shoot the whole game. And they had this dominant player inside where Janine Wallace did so good on her, but we had to overhelp to double team her. They passed it out to this girl who doesn't shoot. She's a good athlete, but doesn't shoot. She shoots it from the three-point line and goes in off the backboard and loses the game.
Oh.
And I'm just like, this is what, so to win a conference championship was very, very up against the wall.
Right.
Shabazz was phenomenal. And then we couldn't play for a Hudson County tournament forever.
Yeah.
And I begged to get into that. They wouldn't let us in.
Nope.
And now Seacaucus, Harrison, and all them can get in.
Right. Well, it's a different tournament now. It used to be it was just for the league. So it was like the HCIAA, which was this past year. It was the only HCIAL. The Seacaucus, Harrison, and the other teams Weehawken were not allowed to do it this year, and they said it was because of COVID. So, but you obviously weren't able to play in the league the tournament this year because you're in the HCIAL right now. But back then,
until we moved. But to me,
yeah.
have a league tournament, like you have a league champion, but it's a county tournament.
Right.
We were in Hudson County, and no one would let us play in a county tournament. So
Right.
Kearny basketball didn't get to play in any tournament because they wouldn't let us in the Watchung,
Right.
and they wouldn't let us in the Hudson. So all we got to do was play for
the states
tournament, and we couldn't beat Shabazz. So
right.
It was unfortunate.
It was.
You know.
All right, but you started to get more. Interest became more and more. You had more girls playing girls basketball in the city more than anything else lately. Over the last 10 years, the interest in girls basketball has increased tremendously. But and then over the years, you've had some really, really good players that have come through. Just off the top of my head, I'll mention people like Martina Raminska and Megan McClellan, and I'm just like off the top of my head. You would probably remember names better than me. And then currently now, you had Janitza Aquino too. That one just flew through my head. Stephanie Gomes. So you had some really, really good players, and then just recently, you've had two that went on to play in college from your recent years, namely Sam Osorio, who was one of the top rookies in the Middle American Conference with she's at Moravian. She had she only played 10 games, but yeah.
Yeah, I believe she got the Rookie of the Year award She had a phenomenal season.
Right.
Started as a freshman. She did amazing at Moravian, yes.
Right. And then
some other great players. I don't know if you remember Margie Mendez.
Sure, Margie Mendez was a great player too.
She was a great athlete. Janine Day, Melina Montanez, like you said, Janitza. I mean, we even had even the kids, just like Tender McNally and Allie Dill.
Yeah, those are just good. Those are good role playing kids. You know, they weren't superstars, but they played your
They were
tough. Yeah.
Toughness, and I feel like that's something that all the girls tell me is like we learned just so much about toughness for me when being like a good character and just some of the things like I had a barbecue over my house like probably 3 weeks ago and all my alumni came because we had like a softball game and after the softball game we were on 2 different teams and they all killed my team by the way.
All right.
And then, yeah, it was fun though. It was fun and they came over here. Even Amy Nicosia, she was on my team too. We all came over here and just were reminiscing, and it was just so much fun. It's like I become friends with so many of these guys from like 15 years ago. You know, they have babies now. I'm just like, what the heck is?
How did that happen? Right? Yeah.
I know, like Janitza, Anna Sanchez brought their babies over here, and I'm like, I love this. Just watching these kids grow up from me remembering to be their coach to now like they're amazing people.
Wait a minute, Janitza Aquino's got a baby?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. I knew that.
Sure does.
Yeah, I knew she became a cop.
She's a great mom already. She's holding that little thing. She already got it in like basketball gear.
And she's a cop too, so you know, right?
She is. I mean, but this is why I love it. Like,
yeah, I saw her in uniform not too long ago, and she obviously had the gun on, and I just said, Janitza, I apologize for anything bad I ever said to you over the years, and she just thought it was hysterical, you know.
How the rules change, and now they have power over us, right?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. All right, but so the talent level started to get a little, got a little better, and your teams got a hell of a lot more competitive. Although you haven't won a county championship, but you played, you go to the Final Four in the county. I'm going to say at least 3 times. And 1 year you were 1 win away from going to the state sectional final, and that's not an easy thing to do in Group 4. So I mean, you've turned it around. Although it's been 22 years that you've been the head coach, which is just an amazing idea that you've been the head coach for 22 years. So, but and obviously you're not going to give it up anytime soon either, right? You love doing it.
Everybody, when you retire, where are you retiring? And I'm just like, I always think, I think I am soon. And then I don't know, like I'm at a summer league game and I have the same intensity as I did 20 years ago.
Yep.
And I'm just like, this is a summer league game. I'm going crazy still. I don't know, I love it still. So until I don't love it anymore, I don't see that really happening. Or until my kids are grown and I have to miss their sports, I think I'll have a hard time with that. So
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about that a little bit. You have 3 children, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and how wild is that that you're the mom of 3 kids?
I mean, one day I said coaching is the best thing that I've ever done until I became a mom, and then I was like, this is the most amazing thing in the whole world. I have twins, Macy and Owen, who are both 7 years old.
Okay.
And we have.
And Macy's obviously a girl, and Owen's a boy, right? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And they're 7. And
7. And then I have Ethan. We have Ethan, who's 10 years old now.
10 years old, and he's just getting to the point where he's becoming a very good athlete, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, they're all different. All 3 of the kids are different. Ethan, believe it or not, he plays flag football and soccer right now. He could be good at all the sports, but he has a love for different things. His passion isn't sports, believe it or not. It's more of like learning and history. He has this love for history.
Wow, good.
Boy, I know. Macy is the one who absolutely loves every sport under the sun and keeps me extremely busy. And Owen, her twin, is playing, he plays travel baseball, soccer, flag football, basketball. And Macy plays like 17 sports I could list for you. She's nonstop.
All right, and then
right now, it's a lot of fun.
All right, now tell me a little bit about you've now been forced to coach some of these teams too. So now you're coaching. You got to worry about your own high school team, but you're coaching also your kids' teams too. And how crazy is that you have to coach a little kids' team and worry about coaching your high school team?
Yeah, it is. It's like jumping from one extreme to the next, and you got to like change your tone a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just
Yeah.
a little different,
Yeah.
right. So I mean, the blessing of it is this: because I'm the coach of their sports, I can arrange the schedule to help fit around my basketball team.
Okay, and now is this travel stuff or is it recreation stuff?
They play all recreation.
All
and
recreation.
I coach all their rec teams.
Okay.
All three kids, I coach all three of their rec teams.
And in what town is that in?
This is in Livingston.
In Livingston, okay.
Yeah. But I coach Macy's travel softball team, where it's all year round, so it's every season. And in the winter, though, during basketball season, it's only indoor training, so it's only on like Saturdays. So nothing so far, knock on wood, has gotten in the way of basketball.
Okay.
And part of that is because, like I said, I can arrange practice times. So I'm jumping from like summer league games in Lyndhurst High School, where we are right now. We'll play at 4 o'clock, and then I'm running home, throwing my coaching shirt on, and pitching to Macy's travel softball team at 6 o'clock. And that's just basically my life. Like literally 5 days a week, it's just nonstop sports. But I love it. Like I can't enjoy it more than I do. Coaching my kids is so much fun.
Okay.
And I'm watching them develop, and especially my daughter loves to practice, and she's nonstop energy. So when she doesn't have anything going on, she's like, "Can I come to your basketball practice? Can I do this?" So I turn around with me to basketball practice and stuff like that, and she goes to the side and does drills, or she'll help somebody rebound. So she's very involved with it, loves it. So I try my best to make it work. Right now it's working, where I'm not missing either or.
Okay.
Because I can't miss, like, I'm not going to be a head coach and miss things. Like, it's just, I've never been in it for a paycheck, and I'm not ever going to be.
Right.
So if it ever becomes too much, I guess that's when I feel like it's time. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. And obviously you don't think it's going to be anytime soon, right?
I'm not feeling like that. I'm having too much fun with this, Phil.
Right. All right. And how much, first of all, talk about your sense of pride when you watch your high school kids develop and become players, say, on the collegiate level, like Sam Osorio was this past year. We'll talk about the sense of pride that you have in your former players doing what they did.
Oh my God, it's everything. Something that I love more than anything is helping these kids get into college, and when they do and they're playing at the next level, just sitting back and watching them and be successful, I get goosebumps. Like, okay. I remember sitting in the gym and watching Janessa, win the championship, and the crowd going wild, and she's getting that trophy and getting the 3-point record over there at Montclair State, and it's right. Like I knew she'd be great, and just watching them reach their potential and becoming everything that you knew they could, it's just like to feel like you might have a little, like you were part of that reason for them to gain the success and have this opportunity.
Right.
To me, that's the most rewarding thing. I think, like, to me, I'm happiest when I give, like when I can give or help somebody, and to feel like I had that impact on any of them is just the most rewarding feeling ever. Okay. I mean, watching Martina, watching Janine, watching Sam, watching Mandy Jang, Steph Salone, Vicky, Vanessa, Jenna, Maxine, Allie. There's so many players who come to my mind.
Who went on to play college basketball, which is an amazing number now. It's got,
so many.
Yeah, so many.
And whether it's Division I, Division II, Division III, who cares?
Yeah.
They're going, they're getting an education, and they're playing the sport that they really grown to love, and there's nothing better than watching that. Every chance I get, I bring the team to watch everybody play at least once.
Right.
And I mean, just watching their face when we go up at the team, it's just like they get so happy, and I really look forward to it.
Okay, and then talk a little bit about what's it like for you now, being a mom and seeing your 3 kids achieve. And you got to say to yourself, did you ever think that was possible? That not only that you were just going to be a mother, but a mother of three, and a mother of three that are involved in sports.
Yeah, I mean, I'm blessed to have like the most amazing wife on earth. First of all,
Okay.
she gave birth to all three, and the way we make it work is because she is very supportive of everything I do, and the time I have to put into everything can be overwhelming. And if you don't have somebody as your partner who's willing to sacrifice and be there for you when you can't be there, I mean, it's everything. And
all right, give her credit. What's her first name?
Megan.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is she a local girl? Is she from? Where is she from?
Yeah, she grew up in Kearny.
Yeah. Oh, grew up in Kearny too. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, without her support, none of this.
So a Harrison girl married a Kearny girl. How does that happen?
How about that? I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, just watching like the kids grow now and raising them together and letting them follow whatever path they want to. And that's what we're big on. I'm not going to force any kid to be something they don't want to be. They're going to choose what they want to be. And the sports, of course, is my thing. So whoever wants to gravitate towards sports, I'm going to take them, and we're going to have fun with it, and we're going to see how far they can go. And it's been like nothing but amazing so far.
Beautiful. All right, now to sum this all up, because we said we were only going to be an hour, and it's been an hour and a half, so we really have been rolling.
What are we going to talk about for an hour?
Yeah, I know. That's what you kept saying to me. And look, it's an hour and a half. Okay, to sum it all up, Jody, how blessed are you the fact that you have a career, you have a life, and it all is based around your association with sports. And when you think about it, how blessed and how fortunate are you that you were able to have such a great athletic career as a player, and now you've had a career now as a coach for 22 years, and your mom. I mean, it's just got to be. It's all based around sports. So how blessed do you feel that you're able to do this? Have a life in sports.
Yeah, I'm extremely grateful to be able to do something that I love every day. And when I can wake up and just coach sports, be around sports, still play sports, it is an enjoyable life for me. And if I could tell anybody anything when they grow up, is find something that you're passionate about to do in life. Because when you can wake up and feel like you're doing something that you enjoy, that's life. As we've seen, especially through COVID, life is very unpredictable and sad, and a lot of bad things happen, and we lose people we love. And,
yep.
The quote, what is it, like, tomorrow's never promised, all this stuff. If you're going through your days not feeling like you're doing what you want to do, then you got to really look at it and say, maybe I need to change. And I've been blessed for over 20 years that I've been doing something that I want to do. And I'm grateful for my parents. I'm grateful for my family, my sisters, their family.
Now, Mom is still with us, right?
Absolutely, she is. And
yeah.
When she can, she gets to my kids' games all the time.
And she still lives in Kearny? Oh, she still lives in Harrison?
She's moved to Lyndhurst.
Oh, Lyndhurst. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she comes over all the time.
Let's give her a plug. What's her first name?
Absolutely, Kathy.
Okay, Kathy. And she's living in Lyndhurst, so she's doing okay?
Yes.
All right.
She is. She's a tough woman. I know the loss is very hard for all of us.
Right.
She's maintained and been able to do her best and still be the great grandmother that she is.
Okay, and then talk about your sisters, where they live now.
My younger sister Melissa lives in West Caldwell, and my older sister Leanne lives in Cedar Grove, and they both have kids. My older sister Leanne has 2 daughters, and my younger sister Melissa has 3 kids. So Grandma is very busy. I
can imagine, and it must be a lot of fun when all the kids are all together at the same time. That must be really, really interesting to be around all those kids all at the same time, right?
That was last night. We had a birthday party for Maya, Luca, Melissa's kids, and they were all running around. It's nothing better than just to watch them laugh and play. So
beautiful. All right, and then currently, right now, you're keeping busy coaching your team in the summer leagues, and yes. Summer leagues plural, because you play in about 3 different leagues?
Well, this year we're only playing in the Lyndhurst League because some of them were canceled due to COVID.
Including your own, right?
Yeah. It was too late to get it going. So
but Okay.
We just joined liquors instead. Well, hey, it's air conditioned and it's working out very well.
Beautiful. All right.
The hot Kearny gym.
Right, and the Hot County gym is going to get full to the capacity in a couple of weeks when your camp starts, right? So
yeah, it actually starts in 2 days, Monday.
Oh, it starts Monday. Okay, I apologize.
Yeah, it starts Monday already.
Yeah.
So we're looking at hopefully we'll pack it up and have fun like we always do.
Right.
And
it's one of the rare, although Lyndhurst is now copying you a little bit by having a girls only basketball camp, but yours was one of the only ones that I knew for the longest time that was girls only. And what a great thing that does for girls' confidences, because they're not worried about what boy is looking at them and what boy is what boy is going to come and play and whether or not a boy is going to hurt them. These are all with their peers, and nothing is better to stimulate their growth and their potential as a player than to be amongst their own. And I think that helps tremendously. But when you started your camp way back when, you were maybe the only game in town that was strictly all girls. And how much did you feel like maybe you were a trailblazer a little bit there in terms of having a girls only camp?
Well, you said it very well how you described the girls camp. I love how you just said all that. It's basically to a T. And again, Jack Rogers was the first one to facilitate the girls camp, and then when he stopped doing it, I ended up taking it over into Kearny. So
okay.
Yeah. And I like to keep it girls only because it's something like you explained it well, so I don't even need to reiterate.
Okay, beautiful. All right, so to sum it all up, although you're still relatively young, although you might think otherwise after a long day with your kids or what have you, but you're still relatively young. In my eyes, you're still always going to be 16 years old. So that's why.
That's my boy.
Yeah. So.
I still feel 16 if I'm being honest. Like I'm going to turn 49 in September.
Are you really?
I am.
Oh my God.
Age is a number,
Yeah.
My kids are keeping me young, and I believe the more active you stay, the better you feel. And I'm just trying to, stay as young as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can.
Well,
and just keep loving what I'm doing.
Well, you're doing a great job in staying young and doing a great job of what you're doing, because you are now one of the most respected coaches in girls basketball in the state of New Jersey, and then around these parts, you are without question a legend, because everybody always wants to compare. Oh well, she's not as good as Jody Hill. She can't pass the ball as good as Jody Hill. She's not the player that Jody Hill was, and that legend doesn't go away. So if that's the case, then you own the title of legend, and you're definitely a legend in my eyes. So, yeah.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you, Jim.
No problem, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today and telling your story, because you know why. I guarantee you, and I don't know whether or not you realize this, you are a huge role model to other girls. Other girls might, not want to see, whether or not they can be successful or have a career in sports unless they hear the stories like what you are, and you, no question, you're a role model to a lot of young ladies out there, and hopefully they'll tune in and listen to this, because it's been too male dominated since I started this podcast. So that's why I'm glad to have such a good female role model such as you to be part of the podcast. So Jody, I thank you so very much for telling your story and being the pride of Harrison. How's that?
Thank you so much. It's been an honor, truly, and I hope to be a role model is something I would look for. So I hope you're right on that. Anyone, I appreciate you.
I know I'm right. You are without question a role model, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. So, and we will definitely keep in touch. You know that. All right.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care of yourself, Jody, and I will see you sometime this week. See? How about that?
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, Jody. Take care of yourself.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. And that was my special guest today. That was Jody Hill, the former Harrison High School basketball superstar, who then went on to play and have a great career at Pace University, and she's now been the longtime head girls basketball coach at Kearny High School. Thank you very much for listening to today's Hudson County Sports Podcast, again brought to you by Stan Sports Center. My special thanks to my executive producer, Johnny Haig, my great nephew, who without him, I would never have this would have never taken place, and it's rolling along, coming up on a second anniversary pretty soon. So without my nephew Johnny, I wouldn't have this. So he's a very, very integral part in the Hudson County Sports Podcast. And I will have another edition of the Hudson County Sports Podcast sometime next week. Thank you very much for listening. You have a pleasant day, and we will talk soon. Bye now.